Racers. I want to wish you a happy 4th of July, but it's July 5th already. Ugh! I hope you guys are having a good day. Hopefully, you guys were able to eat hot dogs and hamburgers and even maybe a couple Coca-Colas. Maybe you even popped open a beer. If you did have a good 4th of July, you deserved it. Let me know about it down below. Guys, I watched a video today from CBS News, and it was describing how Amazon recently topped 1 million robots working for them, and soon it will surpass their human workers. So Jim Cramer is Amazon's CEO, and recently he warned of fewer jobs due to automation and robotics. And it's really crazy, because if you would have told me that Amazon employs over 1 million people, I would have thought that was quite a bit of people. I had no idea it was that high. I thought it was more like 200,000 or 300,000. But here's the scary thing. They're continuously doing layoffs because they're replacing them with these robotics. It's actually one of their goals to become the most efficient company the world has ever seen. And they actually believe that the only way they can get there is to pretty much fully automate. Do you guys remember when we were younger and you would go to a store like maybe Toys R Us or KB Toy Store, and you would buy like a little toy robot? And we thought they were so cool, but basically they were just remote control little, metal looking figures, right? The robots they have nowadays are so advanced, but here's the only problem I have. It seems to me like you're gonna need an awful lot of steel and an awful lot of wiring, and I just don't know how all the companies are gonna be able to provide all of these things without having humans involved. So who knows, maybe there's a positive to this. Maybe it really will create additional human jobs, but I doubt it. One of the robots that they have at their disposal there at Amazon can take voice commands. So imagine you have a blue box there. You could literally say to the robot, grab the blue box and go take it to shipping or what have you. And the robots can do this in some cases. But eventually they're not going to need a human to intervene at all. They could probably do that all themselves. One of the questions I wanted to ask you guys is, do you think AI could replace your job, whatever it is? And if so, how long do you think it'll take before that happens? For an example, I'm a recruiter. I can totally tell just by when I call customer service places, when I call companies and I'm led to their AI customer service, I can totally tell that they could probably replace me as a recruiter probably today if they absolutely wanted to, but definitely within probably 24 to 48 months. So what about your job, guys? Do you think that's one of those jobs that can be replaced by AI soon? And some of us might even be in an old school industry where you're kind of surprised that there's still a job there for you now at all. For example, I remember I had a buddy that was selling magazines in the late 90s, and all of a sudden you could barely find a magazine anywhere because everybody started reading stuff online. But he was kind of stuck in the magazine world for a couple more years than he would have liked. Is your business or industry like that? Do you guys think there is a plan for universal basic income? And if so, how do you think the plan would be rolled out? Do you think it would be something where everybody would get maybe $1,500 or $2,000 a month, and that was supposed to be specifically for your rent or mortgage? How do you guys think that would work? I bet you that there'll be some really crafty people that if all of a sudden they got $1,500 or $2,000 a month, they would find a way to find an apartment for dirt cheap where they could pocket the rest of that money. But man, I don't even know how a future works where most of us don't have jobs. And I know that we could all go to school and become, robotic engineers or whatever the heck it would be, where we're working with robots and stuff. But again, even that seems unnecessary in a world with AI and robots. It's going to be robots creating more robots. And the only thing we're going to be able to do is go out in the mountains to mine, you know, for these different minerals they need to make this happen. Could you imagine that? My great-grandfather was a miner here in Miami, Arizona. I believe they mined copper. That is seen as like yesterday's job, right? Mining is seen as like a job from back in the day that some people still do, but it's not like a ton of us are miners anymore. Could you imagine if the future looked a lot like the past, where it was just us going down into the pits of the earth? I don't even know how mining works, into the mountainside and just carving out rock by the ton just to get to the minerals in it? Again, I don't even know how mining works. Jesse, you should. Your great-grandpa was a miner. He was a miner so that my grandparents, or excuse me, my grandma and her brothers and sisters didn't have to be miners. You see how that works? But the future is going to be our grandkids going back to those mines to find these precious minerals. It's kind of a sad future, isn't it? At Broke a Sweat says people need to stop buying crap on Amazon. I've said that a couple times here on the walks, that I think we could actually reverse this if we could just start buying stuff, you know, by going out to the malls and, you know, actually being around people. But the only problem is, I don't think we would have to just start buying at the malls again. I think we would have to totally quit Amazon. And by the way, let's say they did eventually lay off more and more people, got to the point where they did have more robots than people, which apparently they're really close to doing now. Do you think we as a people are strong enough to boycott Amazon? I don't even know if it's possible, because so many people are addicted to just having something delivered to their home. I see Amazon trucks out almost every single walk that I take. At Wesley Caton says, everyone laughed at Andrew Yang when he said this. That is true. I think Andrew Yang, when he was talking about universal basic income and artificial intelligence, he kind of made it sound like it was 15, 20 years down the road. I'm starting to get the vibe that it's like 1 or 2 years down the road. What do you guys think? And don't get me wrong, I know it's here now. And I know that every single day, this is what's so creepy, Venters. Every single day, I'm hearing about layoffs, but it's not 300 people got laid off. It's like 30,000, 9,000, 6% of such and such company's workforce. These are a lot of people. And the difference between now and in the past is, in the past, if you lost a job due to layoffs, you just found another job that had a similar job lined up for you, you know? Now you have to reinvent yourself, because your job didn't just get eliminated at the company you're working for. It pretty much got eliminated all across the board in one shot. The real scary one that bothers me is these IT people. I didn't realize how lucrative of careers you guys had. You know, you like to think that people making 6 figures is rare enough where if those people lose their job, it's not going to be life-shattering. But there's so many of you guys that were making 6 figures, and now you're going to have to try to go back into a job market and I guess become teachers. And I even heard the other day on a couple of videos I was watching that they're having teacher layoffs. I think their goal is to get rid of some of the people that are making too much money and maybe replace them with younger people that'll work for less, because a lot of these states are losing their federal funding, and they're already, you know, millions and millions of dollars in the hole. So the only thing you can do is lay off teachers. Is that a scary look? God, we are in a scary reality right now. Usually when we talk about the future, it's like I said, 10, 15 years down the line. We're in the now. The now is scary. Gadget Time says, remember when all those Amazon employees went on strike? LOL. Remember the dock workers went on strike? And one of the things they negotiated, or at least tried to negotiate, was they wanted the They wanted their bosses to agree not to automate their jobs in the future. In other words, they were literally trying to slow down the next chapter in this book we call life, right? And I don't know if their bosses ever agreed to that or not. But one of the problems is if you just try to stop things, the rest of the world is not going to stop. It's a race. Everything's a race to efficiency and how to get better than they were the day before. And if we slow down and if we start saying, yeah, we're going to give the dock workers raises and we're not going to automate anything, then pretty soon you become a second-tier country. Could you imagine if every other shipping port in the world was top of the line, fully automated, and then you go to America's ports and it looks like something from the 1900s where you've got men trying to direct cargo tins? What are those things called? Those giant boxes of shit from China? The notorious GRYYN 342 says, I work hospitality in Las Vegas, and I've seen AI systems and automated systems taking over a lot of jobs here. It's time to change careers. You know, you never really think about this, but they're always going to need somebody to come in and clean the room after somebody leaves the hotel or suite that they're staying at, right? But those towels, those things could probably be folded up by a machine. The people at the front desk, they can be replaced by AI. Instead of having somebody take you on a tour of the rooms, they could have you sit in a quiet room while you go through a virtual tour, for all I know. They can literally eliminate jobs in almost every career, and even doctors and surgeons are going to be getting replaced. Teachers are going to be replaced. They're going to start saying here in the very near future that because of lack of funding, they have to get rid of physical teachers and they're going to replace them with AI on a TV screen. That's what I think is going to happen. And that AI, it's proven, they actually have more empathy than doctors. I saw this video, this is no joke. Most people prefer working and talking with AI models than they do other people. In other words, where your son's teacher can't get into his head and get him to understand math, AI is going to be able to figure out the perfect way to get in Johnny's head so that math clicks for him. Now tell me that's not scary. And again, here's the question I wrote down for myself. Could we reverse this? And could we even fight it? This time last year, I was urging people to go to the mall and shop. That way it keeps people working at the mall. But I just don't even know if that's going to help. The only way we could do this is if we all, as a country, said, we're just not going to buy online anymore. We're going to go down and we're going to buy in person. But all that would do is get those million of people that are working at Amazon now, it would get them fired that much quicker. It's almost like you need to have a genius to get us out of this dilemma that we're in. And I just don't know if anything that happens at the national level can be described as genius. Wow, that's almost like AI. You don't see that every day. I could recreate that on AI and say, have an older man come down on a three-wheel scooter. That's crazy. Excuse me, no excuses says, so all of these robots are paying payroll taxes, right? That's where this becomes interesting. I'm sure Amazon would love getting rid of the payroll and just having robots. But I'm sure that the government absolutely loves those payroll taxes that come in. So the only way you can really do this is if you infuse UBI into the system. But what are you going to do? Tear it off and give it to the Amazon workers first and then give it to the teachers and the doctors next? How the heck is anybody going to be able to do UBI in a fair way that works for everybody? MRA 4107 says no jobs equal no consumers, which equals no revenue. Why don't these businesses get this? God, it's almost like they plan on eliminating us. And I don't mean eliminating us from the workforce, but eliminating us altogether. Maybe this is why billionaires have bunkers underground. Maybe it's because in the next 2 or 3 years, they know how bad things are gonna get. See, they tell you they're building that because they think an asteroid's gonna hit or aliens are gonna come and take over, and we eat that up hook, line, and sinker. The reality is they wanna know that they can go underground for a week or two or however long it takes for us peasants to weaken out and perish so that they can come back up like cockroaches and take leadership over again. Cletus Jones 9411 says, these two talking heads, because again, this was on CBS News, they're going to be replaced by AI as well. Soon we'll be watching AI-generated news. Here's the crazy thing. How do we know that's not already happening? Every time you see some famous talking person on the news, I just assume they get paid millions of dollars a year because they're on the news, right? And even if they don't get paid millions, they probably at least get paid 6 figures a year. Why the heck would you want that money going out when you could just make a really cordial AI-generated person that's always got $1 million smile and never gets fatigued? That would be the way to go. And I think that is what's going to happen. I brought up this a couple months back. You know how they have these telehealth nurses and doctors where you can actually see them on your cell phone? How the hell do we know that they're not just AI-generated doctors? Wouldn't that be crazy if you found out that your doctor wasn't even a human being? But every time you talk to him, he's so pleasant. Well, that's how they design AI. They actually know what flips your boat, and they can actually make an AI doctor or nurse that is absolutely perfectly meshed with your nature. God, that's scary just thinking about it. You know what else is scary? The idea of you not having a daily walk, because I don't care if the robots take over or the aliens take over. I want us to be able to watch it happen because we live a long time. So make sure you walk every day, drink a lot of water, come back again tomorrow. We'll do it again. Have a good night.